All right. How are we doing?
Fabulous.
We're doing good? How's breakfast?
Very good.
It's good, okay. You gotta feed bodies and souls together. That's optimal. Don't leave out one for the other. Some people are into feeding bodies, but they don't take good care of their souls. Some people take care of their souls, they don't take good care of their bodies. What was that? Ooh. How are we doing? Not bad, okay. Okay. What was that?
Let there be sound.
All right, let's get ourselves comfortable over here. Listen, that's what you gotta do. Should we? I think we'll be okay. All right, dear friends, good morning. How are we all doing? Oh, Baruch Hashem, thank God. Here we are, wow. How did 6 weeks go by? It always amazes me. Okay, dear friends, this is very, very special. We're all here gathered together, all those of us who were able to make it. The evening class, we brought both classes together for this very, very special course, and I'm very glad. This is very, very pleasing over here. That this is the second time we're trying this out to bring everybody together for the morning class, for a Sunday morning special grand finale class, and it's really wonderful. So I'm very happy we're all able to be here, and so that we can learn and celebrate together. Dear friends, let us begin with a few little announcements. Number one. Once again, I want to make a little push. I've been doing it for the past few weeks, but especially with you all taking this course. I really think this is something which is going to flow right in. You'll especially appreciate this opportunity to go to Shabbat in the Heights, which is really the headquarters of Chabad, the seat of the Lubavitcher Rebbe for the decades of his leadership. We're going to visit his resting place, and especially after taking this course, it is so special. I think it's going to be such a special opportunity to really connect on a deeper level like that. And just by the way, I want to share with you that our sages teach us, and I mentioned this to you earlier as well, that righteous people don't ever really leave us. The real truth is we believe this about any Jew. When a Jew passes away, the soul always is eternal. But by righteous people, it's even stronger. And Kabbalah teaches us, the Zohar says this very clearly, that when a tzaddik passes away, they are found here in this world even more than during their lifetime. And the way to access the tzaddik is by going to the resting place. And just as we saw in the Rebbe's lifetime, tens, hundreds of thousands of people would go right to the Rebbe, to speak with the Rebbe, to meet with the Rebbe, to gain from his guidance, from his advice, and just from his energy. That is something which we can still do by going to the Rebbe's resting place. So this is Shabbat in the Heights, is where we're going to be doing that this May, and I really want you to consider it, and I want you to join. It's going to be very, very special. Okay, dear friends, that's number one. Number two, now is a very good opportunity to introduce to you our spring course coming up May 15th. So taking a little break over here from our courses for Passover. May 15th, we got a 4-week course coming up, which is, you got to buckle up for this one. It's a medical ethics course, specifically around the big, hot button issues and very sensitive issues of end of life and death. So 4 topics, it's going to be a 4-week course, including, and there are people who asked me about this over the past few months, whenever there's been a little bit of a controversy, and I always said, you got to wait for this course. The Jewish position on, let's make sure that's good. One second. There we go. Okay. The Jewish position on abortion. The Jewish attitude towards a fetus. That's going to be a full class. These are very, very important and involved topics, and it's very practical, seeing how Judaism, Jewish law, and Jewish values truly guide a Jew in the modern world in understanding our lives, how the Torah wants us to treat our lives. It's going to be a very, very special course. Big, inspiring, heavy, a lot of meat on the bone. So take a look at your screens. I'll show you a little bit about it.
Nowadays, people don't really get lost anymore. For the most part, society has mastered the art of navigation. But how do we navigate the next frontier? Sometimes we need new tools to navigate new terrain when it matters the most. What tools will you have to find your way? Introducing Decisions of Fate, your Jewish compass for questions of medical ethics.
Okay, so first of all, anybody who is in the medical profession, you could get credits for joining this course. As well, locally in Michigan, lawyers don't need continuing education credits, but if anybody has a how's it called, Alex? A law degree in any other state, this will also give you that as well. So that's what's coming up. And we're going to do as we also did for the past few times. For the next, let's say, week or two, I'm going to send you an email. Stay tuned for it. If you register within the next week or two, you get 20% off your registrations. It's a good encouragement to not stop here. We always want to, as soon as one good thing is ending, right away jump on board for the next good thing. That's what the Rebbe would always tell people. One good thing has to lead to another good thing. We have to always be growing, never be stagnant. So I want to encourage you all. New course coming up in May, and that's what we got for then. Okay, dear friends, let us begin today's topic. I want to thank, as we come to a conclusion for this course, thank you to the Newman family for sponsoring this course in honor of the bar mitzvah of Nathan Newman. And look at this, what an amazing journey it's been together. 6 weeks in, so I want to thank you all. Dear friends, on the final frontier of our journey, this week's class is titled Spiritual Heights. How do we become a better person? How do we grow? How do we become a more spiritual person? So before we begin today's topic and exploring the Rebbe's advice on this, and it's such a special class, I want you to take a moment and rate on page 144 in your books. Get your books out, get your pens out. You have pens? If you don't have pens, I think if you look around the drawers in the Jewish Federation, they may have some pens. Okay. I want you to put a number. Rate what do you think is most important to least important, highest priority to lowest priority, in growing in your spirituality and growing in your Judaism. What would you say is the order of priorities? Let's give it a moment. All right. It's hard to do a live poll, but let's see if we could get some basic ideas. What was your number one? So let's do by raise of hand. What was your number one? Study more Torah? All right, a few, but not that many. Study Jewish history for number one? A few, also not that many, okay. Meditate on God for number one. Okay, we're also getting a few over here. Work at inspiring other Jews to grow. Who put that for number one? Only one, two. Okay, very good. Do another mitzvah? Wow, what a resounding response over here. Do you hear the deafening voice of all the yays? Attend Shabbat services? Anybody for that? Okay, also not so bad. Okay, so dear friends, keep this in mind. So we all got your number ones. Should we do number twos? Let's do number twos. If you put number two, raise your hand, study more Torah for number two. That's your number two. Study Jewish history for number two. Who put that as number two? Okay, not that many, okay. Meditate on God for number two. Okay. Inspire other Jews to grow for number 2. Not that many, okay. Do another mitzvah for number 2. Okay. And attend Shabbat services for number 2. Okay, all right then. We'll get back to this in a moment. It's always good to first kind of identify on your own where you're holding on this stuff. Okay. So let us begin our journey. I think it's very, very natural for human beings. The difference between an animal and a human being is that animals are very comfortable living their status quo. Animals are always just doing their thing, no problem. They could do the same thing every single day. They're exactly the same person. Same animal they were a year ago, that's who they are today. Humans have this urge to always want to grow. We don't like being complacent. We don't like just staying in the same status quo. There really is a certain innate pull to the human soul that says, we need to be better, we need to somehow grow. And it's very interesting how King Solomon writes this. Look in your books on text 1. It's a short text, I'll read it. It's a verse from Ecclesiastes. Anybody know what Ecclesiastes means? Very fancy English word. Okay. This is the verse. How many understand that the spirit of the human ascends on high, while the spirit of the beast descends to the earth? There you have it. The human spirit is always ascending. We're trying to be better. And I think that's why self-help is such a big genre today. Life coaches, books, seminars, workshops. Like somebody once walked into a library, and the librarian asked the person who walks in, says, how can I help you? So he says, I'm looking for the self-help section. So she says, well, wouldn't it defeat the purpose if I showed you? Okay. All right. So we're all looking for self-help. We're all looking to grow. How do we grow? How do we grow? I want to share with you the Rebbe's unique, very revolutionary. The Rebbe was, again, a radical. The Rebbe really was a radical. The more you study what the Rebbe taught, the Rebbe was so non-conventional. The Rebbe was truly something special. And this topic really is at the center of the Rebbe's advice, the Rebbe's outlook on life. How do we grow on a personal level, as well in the Jewish world? The Rebbe began his leadership in 1950. The Jewish world, number one, shifted. European Jewry came to a halt. The Jewish centers now became America and Israel, the Western world, and Judaism had to grow back up again, practically, institutions, also emotionally, after all the brokenness. And this was something the Rebbe really spoke so much about, the growth, what is our attitude? And it's really something special. So let us jump in. To appreciate the Rebbe's advice on growing, on how to become a better person, I first want to share with you what everybody else says. What is the conventional classic approach to growth, to improvement? And I'm going to spoil it for you now. Whatever everybody else says, the Rebbe said exactly the opposite. Okay, but let us begin. The classic approach, I want to tell you 2 terms. The classic approach is bottom up and inside out. Okay, remember that. Bottom up, inside out. What does that mean? Let us begin with the first one, bottom up. If you want to make yourself a better person, you start at the bottom, you make your way up. Does that sound logical? Sounds like a pretty good idea, no? Start low, make your way up. Let's look at a verse from Psalms. Text 2 on page 146. And I'm going to begin on my left over here. Sheldon, would you like to read? I'll give you the mic. Let's go. There we go.
The mountain of God. Who shall ascend the mountain of God? And who shall stand in his holy place? One who has clean hands and a pure heart, who has not borne my soul into vanity, and has not sworn deceitfully.
All right, there we go. Let's unpack this verse. King David says, who shall ascend the mountain of God? What does that mean? What does it mean ascending the mountain of God? Isn't God everywhere? What's the mountain of God? So I think it's a figure of speech, right? we sometimes, we know God is everywhere, but at the same time, sometimes a connection with God, a more spiritual life feels like a mountain. We have to climb a big mountain. We look up, we feel distant, out of the bottom of a mountain. And a better spiritual me is somewhere up there. So how do we begin to scale this ridge? How do we get up? So, says the psalmist, says King David, make your way up. Now, think about it. Let's just think about the mountain analogy. If you want to climb a mountain, and they're going to go to Mount Everest, you can't just go today and start climbing the mountain. What do you need to do? You got to start slowly. First of all, get into better shape, right? Drop some pounds. Start exercising, build up some stamina, better eating habits, start working out. Okay. Then you can start maybe training. How do you climb? What are the techniques? What are the skills you need? And then, even when it's time to climb, you got all the right equipment, you've got your supplies, you got to start slowly. You first arrive at the foot of the mountain. And then you got to make your way up one step at a time, one ledge at a time. And then from there, you can strategize. Okay, now how do I get to the next ledge, to the next camp? You make your way up. And every single step up, there's different challenges. Each one's a different strategy, new environments. So you make your way bottom up. So if you look at this verse of Psalm, what does it say? You want to climb the mountain of God. Make your way up slowly. Number one, you can't just start right now. You got to get yourself in proper shape. What does it say? You have to have clean hands. You have to have a pure heart. Clean hands. Is there any dishonesty? Is there any immorality? Is there any negativity? Any badness in your life? Any evil in your life? First, get rid of that. You want to start climbing the mountain of God, and you've got problems with yourself. You're out of shape. You can't do that. First, get yourself in spiritual shape. Clean hands, pure heart. It's not going to work if your soul, you've born your soul into vanity. You've taken your godly soul and you've drowned it in the vanities of materialistic life. And now you want to climb the mountain of God, it ain't going to work. You don't speak. You speak deceitfully. You're not always truthful. It's not going to work. So the psalmist seems to be saying, you want to climb the mountain? Beautiful. Nice aspiration. But there's some steps you got to take first. This is the attitude. Let me put it up here on the screen. First, rectify the negative, and then you can start advancing spiritually. You can't start climbing right away. You can't start climbing today. This is conventional wisdom. One more verse. Let's also read another verse from Psalms. Elisa, you can take the mic.
Turn away from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it.
All right, take a look there at the order. Turn away from evil and do good. First, turn away from evil. Then you can start doing good. This is what we will call the bottom-up approach, the bottom-up model. You want to improve yourself? Make your way from the bottom up. There's a process, there's a progression. Yeah, one step at a time. Embark it one step at a time. It starts from the bottom. This is conventional wisdom. Does it make sense? Makes sense. It makes sense. Okay. Let's keep on going. This is what we call bottom up. Now let's do another very similar but a little bit different model, the inside out model. Inside out approach. And the inside out approach is when you want to try to influence somebody else. In the relationships, interpersonal relationships. You want to try to influence somebody else. You want to be a good influence on other people. How does that work? Let's read text 4 from the Talmud. Bonnie, would you like to read? Text 4.
Beautify yourself and then beautify others.
It's a good piece of advice from the Talmud, right? If you're going to go to somebody else, say, I think it would be a really good idea if you did this, and they're like, look who's talking. Big talk over here. Like you go to the doctor. Imagine you go to the doctor. I hope I'm not offending any doctors here. And he says, you're really not in such good shape. You got to stop smoking. And you got to also get a little bit more fit. Okay, all right. Doctor gives good advice, but then you go out to the lobby an hour later, and the doctor is standing right outside, smoking a cigarette. What's going on over here? All right, it's an interesting phenomenon. But the Talmud is saying something which seems to be a certain truism. You want to beautify others? Beautify yourself. What business do you have trying to share with people moral goodness, telling them to improve, if you've still got a lot of your own problems? You're still lacking big time. This is the truism. This is the basic idea of the inside-out model. If you want to positively impact other people, first improve yourself. If you are there, you can improve other people in that area. If you're not there, okay, maybe this is not your place. Maybe not for you to do this. Maybe it's not for you to be a big talker, Mr. Hypocrite. All right? Now, if you even look back at text 3 on page 147, if you look at the sequence of this verse, turn away from evil, and then you could do good. Seek peace and pursue it. You want to seek peace, you want to make goodness in other people, you want to pursue peace in the world. First, turn away from evil. First, do good. You're not ready to start right away. Bottom up, inside out. You want to work on the outside world? First, fix yourself. This is conventional wisdom. Bottom up, inside out. That is how things work. How does that sound? We're doing okay? Kind of makes sense. I'm saying this is not rocket science, and there's a logical basis to this. Yes, Joey?
I was going to say that it's very well known in the recovery community, which I'm part of. You got to clean up your side of the street. That's all you can really start.
So in the recovery community, Joey's saying, first clean up your own backyard, and then you can start. Okay. All right. What does the Rebbe say? What does the Rebbe say? The Rebbe didn't like any of this. Why not? I want to share with you 2 quotes that the Rebbe loved. These were real quotable quotes of the Rebbe. The Rebbe very often repeated both of these sayings. Let us first begin with a saying of the 4th Rebbe of Chabad. His name was Rebbe Shmuel Schneerson, the Rebbe Maharash. He was the Rebbe, the leader of the Chabad community in Russia in the mid-1800s. Let's read text 5. Very powerful line. Marshall, take it away.
The world advises, when facing an obstacle, if you cannot go under it, you must leap over it. I maintain leap first.
Okay. It's a very profound statement. When people face an obstacle, they first try going under it. What does that mean? It's a metaphor. People try first avoiding the obstacle. They go under it. Says the Rebbe, no! Don't even try going under. Leap first. Jump first. Leap first approach the Rebbe has. Let's put this up over here. The classic approach is, if you can't go under it, go over it. And what does the Rebbe say? No. Go straight at it. Leap first. Okay, we have to decode that. What does that mean? What's this attitude of leap first? So we'll see. Another line. This comes from the Talmud. And Alex, what text are we? Text 6, isn't it?
The banquet. This world is like a banquet. Grab and eat, grab and drink.
Ooh. Imagine you go to a restaurant. It's a really fancy restaurant. And you order a whole bunch of stuff. You're going out for a whole group. So you order drinks and appetizers and the first course and the last course and the dessert. So a good restaurant, what do? You don't bring out the dessert together with the appetizer, right? You got to pace the meal, make it a whole nice experience. Even when the drinks come out, there could be one round of drinks, and first maybe soft drinks, maybe harder drinks later. There's no order here. Imagine you walk into the restaurant. They say we're closing in 10 minutes. We could knock some stuff out of the kitchen for you, but we're closing in 10 minutes. Could you start sitting down and having everything at the right pace, at your convenience? No. The mode is grab and eat, grab and drink. What can we get our hands on? No problem. Dessert first? No problem. Second course before appetizers? Whatever it is. We only got a few minutes left. This is number 2. The Rebbe said, earlier generations of Jewish history had the luxury of being able to take their time and to do things following protocol, following proper orders, proper systems in place. Yes, perfection, there's a system to perfection. Do it slowly, got to make our way there. Don't influence other people until you're there yourself. Inside out, bottom up, all these things make sense. These are conventional, good ideas. The Rebbe says, these days, we don't have that luxury. The time is too critical, and there's too much that needs to be done. The attitude we need to have now is grab and eat, grab and drink. Whatever we could do, leap first. Go head first at it. This was the Rebbe's attitude in life. There's too much to accomplish. The Rebbe also spoke about how historically we are at the very final frontier of the time of the exile, right before the coming of Mashiach. There's still so much important work to do, and we gotta catch it in. The Jewish people, there's too many critical needs. We just gotta get a move on it. And therefore, the Rebbe said, turn the whole model upside down and inside out. Instead of bottom up, it's top down. Instead of inside out, it's outside in. What does that look like? So the Rebbe brought a whole new model to personal improvement, to activism in the Jewish world, and I want to explore this with you. Let us first start with the outside in versus inside out model. What does it look like? How does it work? What does it look like in our lives to begin outside in? So let us look at a few case studies that the Rebbe taught. So look at 3 examples. Each one in a different area. In each of these areas, the Rebbe gave an outside-in approach when everybody usually goes inside out. The first one is a letter to a young man. The Rebbe wrote this letter in 1959. Now, in the 50s was when the Rebbe was just starting to educate within the Chabad world, creating this model. Go out. Don't just stay in your own communities. Teach people. Do good things with the world. Teach Torah. Teach the teachings of Chassidus. And a young man asked a question, which seems to be a very good question. I don't know if I'm the right person for doing such amazing work. I don't know if I'm there yet. I didn't beautify myself enough. Let's see what the Rebbe answers. The Rebbe answers in 2 points. Let's do 1 point at a time. This is very profound stuff. Michael, you ready to give us a read? Text 7a. Here you go.
You ask me, how can I involve myself in disseminating the teachings, directives, and practices of Chabad to others when I have not yet fulfilled the dictum, beautify yourself and only then beautify others? I have 2 responses to your quandary. Firstly, it is not acceptable to withhold these teachings from individuals in your surroundings simply because you are not the way you should be. After all, your personal deficiency is not their fault.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? What's the Rebbe saying? There's somebody out there. There are people who need help. There are people out there who are ready to learn, ready to get involved, and all they need is what? Somebody to show up and open up that door. Give them that accepting, loving opportunity. And what do you tell yourself? I didn't get my act together yet, so I don't think I'm ready to do it. So I said, what's it their fault that you don't have your act together yet? It's not their fault. They should be deprived because you've got your own problems. So think about it this way. Imagine somebody's given the job to, let's think of an example. There's a summer camp. Children need good staff at a summer camp, and we need staff. Are you available? You say, I wish I could influence children. Maybe next summer. I got to do a lot of work before I'm ready to do that. So not this summer, next summer. You know what the only problem is? The kids are here this summer. Next summer is a long time. People need you right now. Okay, so first of all, you got a few weeks. So fine. So you're not going to be perfect. Do whatever you can. But is it about you or is it about them? The inside-out model makes it all about you. It all is about me. Am I comfortable? Do I feel ready? Do I feel competent? The outside-in model is what? Is exactly the opposite. It's not about me, it's about what needs to happen. What needs to get done. What people need me. Today. Not next week, not in a month, not in a year, not in some other lifetime. People need me today. So stop thinking about yourself. Stop getting in your own way. Stop living in your own head. There's good work that needs to happen, so you're not beautiful yourself. No, so what? Right? Lead first. Stop looking to climb slowly. Not inside out, outside in. I'll tell you a very beautiful Hasidic story. Want to hear a beautiful Hasidic story? In the second generation of the Chabad movement, so 200 years ago, the Rebbe, which was then the second Rebbe of Chabad, his name was Rabbi Dovber, he instituted a new tradition in the Chabad world that was like this. Back in the day, in Russia, most Jews didn't live in big Jewish communities. They were usually villagers, farmers, and Jews lived very remote, usually from each other. So it was a big deal once a year, once every other year, once every 3 years, that a chassid would want to leave his home for a holiday. You know, if he has enough money, maybe bring along one child, and take the long, expensive journey to the court of a great rabbi, and spend time of the holiday with the great rabbi, with the great Rebbe. And he could learn, he get himself inspired, and it was very important because they were very lonely otherwise. There was no real leadership close by. So the Rebbe said there are 2 conditions. Number 1, can't come without asking your wife permission. Very important rule. That's a good one. Number 2, there's no going straight back home. You are coming here to fill up your gas tank with all the spirituality and Torah learning. You need to stop by every single Jewish community and village on the way, get off your horse and buggy, tell the Jews that I'm just coming from the Rebbe, let me share with you some Torah I've just learned. You've got inspired, don't keep it for yourself, share it with others. That was the rule. You're not allowed to come here if you don't add in an extra week or 2 to your itinerary. Not every single Jewish community you stop by has to benefit from this trip that you made, which is such a beautiful concept. Okay. One chassid comes to the Rebbe, he says, Rebbe, I need a pass on this program. I can't do this anymore. Why not? He says, Rebbe, I'm a very gifted speaker. I've discovered. And when I go to these communities to share what I learned from you, from the Rebbe, my ego gets such a boost because I see how much people enjoy listening to me. And it's so unhealthy for my spiritual progress. And I'm trying to be humble and this and that. All of a sudden, my ego, my arrogance is just through the roof. So it's not healthy for me. I can't do this anymore. You know what the Rebbe told him? He told him in Yiddish. An onion should come out of you. You should turn into an onion, but you have to teach Torah. You have to teach Chassidus. What's the idea? What's an onion? An onion, usually nobody wants to bite into an onion. But every good dish has onions. An onion on its own is very bitter. But to others, it gives us so much good flavor. So think about it. So you'll be damaged in the process. You'll turn bitter, but you're helping other Jews. Stop living in your own head. You're thinking too much about yourself. Jews need to learn Torah. You'll be damaged on the way? So what? So what? It should be the worst of your sins. That because you taught Torah to people, you lost a little bit of your own spirituality. But you gotta show, it's the attitude. Stop thinking about yourself. Be there for other people. Get out of your own head. There's a mission that has to happen here. But am I ready? Am I this? Am I competent? Am I good enough? Do I look good? Who asked you? It's such a you're so focused on yourself. Start thinking about other people. Such a beautiful idea. Okay, and now the letter continues. So point A is, doesn't matter, you got to do it anyways. Let's do this next text. It's text 7b. And this is so profound what the Rebbe says over here. And Jude, you're up to read it? Okay.
When you set the goal of beautifying yourself, you must seek and exploit all possible methods and means of increasing your success. Now, when you are acutely aware that you will soon face numerous individuals and you will have to discuss important topics with them, that awareness will itself most certainly assist you in your battle for self-improvement and make your victory far quicker and easier.
And the Rebbe says, so first of all, stop worrying about your own problems. But number two, the Rebbe says, you know what's the best way for you to grow? The best way for a person to grow is by being there for others. Even if you're not there yet, but when you influence other people, it inspires you more than you could ever inspire yourself. When you are there and influencing, you're teaching other people. Everybody knows this. I know this from my own experience. When I learn something by myself, okay, I understand it so well. When I teach it to other people, all of a sudden, I gain from that process. When you help other people grow, you end up inspiring yourself. It's a gift back to you. It's very, very profound. You want to self-improve. The way to do that is by being there for other people. Yes?
What's wrong then with the doctor who's always telling the patient not to smoke?
Oh. Listen, I don't think the Rebbe is saying that you should be flippant about telling other people what to do, and but then dismissing it for yourself. The Rebbe is saying don't hold yourself back just because you're not there yet. Okay, so I've got my own problems, so we'll grow together. But let me show you now 2 videos. And in both these videos, you see the Rebbe's attitude that by you giving to others, you end up benefiting. Very, very beautiful stories. I can't keep the lights on. It'll be a little bit too difficult to close lights. And we got 4 screens over here, so you know what I'm saying? Okay, here we go.
Rabbi Meshulam Weiss and his wife Eileen were married in 1957. 3 days before their wedding, they had a private audience with the Rebbe.
So I gave the Rebbe the zettel, and the Rebbe looked at it, read it, and then he looked up, and he said to us, "You read Yiddish?" So I said, "Yeah, I speak Yiddish, I understand Yiddish." And my Kava, she said to the Rebbe, "I understand Yiddish, but I don't speak it that well. I don't express myself that well in Yiddish." So the Rebbe said, "All right, when I speak to the chassan, I'll speak in Yiddish, and when I speak to the Kala, I'll speak in English." And that's what he did. So maybe a few seconds goes by, and all of a sudden, my wife starts to cry. And she looks at the Rebbe, and she says to him, "Can the Rebbe please ask the chassan to leave the room? I want to speak to the Rebbe in private." Well, I was in shock. I think the Rebbe was also in shock. And the Rebbe gave me a look, and I just backed out and walked out of the room. As I came out into the hallway, our Grona came running over. He says, "Where's the Kala?" I said, "She's still inside." He said, No, you can't do that. We don't do it that way." I said, "Well, that's the way it is. What am I going to do?" And maybe about a good 20 minutes goes by that my wife is inside with the Rebbe talking. And then she finishes, and she opens the door. She says, "The Rebbe said you should come back in." So I come back in, and I forget exactly how we were talking, but we, more or less, the Chidus was ending at that point. And we started backing to the door, and the Rebbe got up from behind his desk, and he walked us to the door. And the 2 Shoimim were waiting outside. My wife went on her way, and I went my way. And the next time I saw my wife was under the chuppah. And after the chuppah, we, of course, went into the yichud room. And as soon as we went into the yichud room, the first thing that came out of my mouth was, "What did you talk to the Rebbe about in there for 20 minutes?" So my wife said, "Well, I hope you're not upset. I told the Rebbe I want to call the wedding off." This was, remember, Thursday night. We're getting married Sunday. And the Rebbe said, why do you want to call off the wedding? So I said to the Rebbe, because I have a terrible temper. I have no patience, and I lose my temper very easily. And until now, there's something, a chassan kala, he doesn't see everything because, but once we're married, it won't take long, he's going to realize he made a big mistake. He married a wrong woman, or he married a shrew, and we'll probably end up in divorce. So I've been thinking about it, she said, and I decided I would rather not get married at all than get married and get divorced. So I said, so what did the Rebbe say? She said, the Rebbe smiled. And the Rebbe said to me, in English, the Rebbe said to me, I'm going to tell you something. The Rebbe is going to bless you with many children. And the children will teach you patience. So there's no reason for you to call off the wedding. And until you start having the children, you should do volunteer work in a hospital, preferably with children in the hospital. And that will also help you become patient with people. And your temper will not be a problem.
Right, isn't that beautiful? Yes. You help other people, you end up learning and gaining from that as well. By the way, there's a lot of lonely bottles of orange juice in the back tables. If you're getting thirsty, please do us a favor.
Pass it around.
Should we pass it around?
That way people won't be getting up and interrupting the class.
It's okay, don't worry. All right, video number 2. You ready?
So my husband's very happy to report to the Rebbe that he has this wonderful shir in Riverdale. Doe's finished with his spiel about his shir. The Rebbe says, Doe, what do the women do during that time? So my husband says, oh, they prepare a wonderful Sudash Shlishit, a whole meal. And the Rebbe says, Doe, that's not enough. The women need to learn too. So my husband comes home and he says to me, the Rebbe says you should teach a shir. I said, Dov, what are you talking about? I'm a professional artist. Once upon a time, I taught Hebrew school. Teach a shir? I'm not prepared to teach a shir. Dov says, the Rebbe says you really should teach a shir. A shir for women in Riverdale, a shir in Mishnah, that would be nice.
Wenn gehe zu lernen und wissen allein mit eigenem Sechel verstehen, was Teile will und was Teile verlangt und auf was Teile gibt Keach, sagt man, dass geworden Minna Gisrael Teile als von dort zu dort und in jeder Dorf von Jahr zu Jahr und im Jahr allein von Zeit zu Zeit kommt zu bei Frauen und bei Mädchen, Vaterchassen a viele, bis a viele bei gar kleine Mädchen, bei jeder von sie allein kommt zu, in Wissen, was in der steht.
So I said, all right, you prepare me, go over the Mishnah with me, and I'll try. After I started it in a private fashion, the rabbi of the Riverdale Jewish Center, which is the largest Orthodox synagogue in Riverdale, called and heard that I had been teaching a shir to women, and he asked me to do it in the Misgaret of the synagogue. And we kept this study group going for 25 years. It is not just that the Rebbe was responsible for these women learning Mishnah with me. It was that he was essentially responsible for me coming to a much higher level of Jewish learning that I would not have had otherwise.
So once again, the exact same model. Don't wait till you're ready. Leap first, and you end up gaining. That's actually the way that you grow. So that's number 1. Here's another little example here. This was in 1957. And in 1957, one of the beautiful things that started happening, just interesting, historically, post-Holocaust, one of the big things that happened was so many writings of Judaism. We're talking about writings from recent history to ancient history. I don't know how ancient, but certain manuscripts of Jewish writings from great rabbis that have never been published only started being published after the Holocaust. Which is a very interesting thing. The Jewish library really, really grew over the past many decades. Not even within 100 years. Talking about 50, 60, 70 years. In 1957, a brand new teaching from the first Rebbe of Chabad was officially published. Until then, it was only existed in a library in manuscript form, and now they published it. And the Rebbe publicly spoke about it. And it's very interesting, this talk, because the Rebbe says, we all just learned it. It was just published. It was very, very exciting. And the Rebbe says, I have a question. The Rebbe shares himself a question he had while learning this text. And the Rebbe then says he thought of an answer. So it's interesting how we're going to see how the Rebbe himself discusses this. But I want to, it's a very, very profound text over here once again. Daniel, would you like to read or should we pass it on? You're doing good. Okay.
Okay, this is page 153. Hasidic discourse states that charity should be given in an infinite manner. This was the first time I encountered such terminology applied to giving charity. As I studied the discourse, I asked myself how it might be possible to give charity in an infinite manner. After all, charity entails giving money or physical resources with monetary value. How could any physical entity possibly be infinite? Now, Judaism delineates several standards of charitable giving. According to the typical standard of charity, we donate 1/10 of our earnings. That is considered the proper minimum margin. Then there is the standard of 1/5, which is considered a generous margin of charity. Finally, there is the standard of charity referred to as charity by judgment, whereby we judge ourselves honestly to determine the amount we require to sustain our own existence so that we can donate everything beyond that amount to charity. Interesting. Yeah. According to the latter standard, our charity is not defined by a specific percentage. It is neither a 10th nor a 5th nor even a specific figure greater than a 5th. Nevertheless, in the final analysis, even such giving has a limit. For even if we were to give away all that we possess, it would still add up to a quantifiable sum. Rather, there is an entirely different approach to giving charity, whereby we do not consider ourselves at all. Instead, as soon as we encounter someone in need, our response is to immediately resolve that need, however large it may be, without considering whether we own that amount or not. In other words, the degree to which we feel the pain of our fellow and relate to their need is infinite, unequivocal, and unconstrained, so that there is no room for any calculations whatsoever regarding our personal means. We have but one consideration. We must provide the needy individual with the amount they require. If we do not have that sum ourselves, we will put every effort into obtaining it. And when we truly make this resolve, God will certainly assist us in fulfilling this mitzvah.
All right, very, very deep text over here. Let's unpack a little bit again. Infinite charity, the Rebbe says, okay, that's a very, very funny type of term, because charity, because we're dealing with money, which is very finite, how do you give infinite charity? And the Rebbe says like this: as long as you're thinking about, as long as it's coming from you, inside out, you start asking questions. How much could I give? Am I in a good mood right now? Did I already give too much this year? Do I like this charity cause? Okay. That's giver-focused. Charity is defined by the constraints of the giver's resources. But then there's a whole different attitude. The attitude is, where the whole attitude of charity is, somebody is in need. There is an important need that needs charity. we need to make sure that they get charity. The moment you have that attitude, that's infinite. Why? Because you are fully there caring about this person. Now, practically, okay, so give as much as you can. You won't be able to give everything. But the moment you have that attitude, okay, you'll get other people to help give. And God will help you be able to give. But the question is, what is the starting point of giving charity? Does it start from you, inside out? Oh, let me see, let me think about it. Do I like it? Do I have enough? Do I this? Do I that? Or is it right away, outside in? First, there's a need. There's an important cause here. And then start your way in. The Rebbe says, that's the real way to give charity. Start inside out. Start outside in. And it's not just about physical charity. It's also about spiritual charity. What's spiritual charity? Being there for other people. Influencing other people. Giving of our kindness, of our resources to other people. It's not just money. You don't just say, well, am I in the mood? Do I like this person? Do I want to hang out with them? Do I feel equipped to give this form of charity? That's all inside out. That's not the Rebbe's model. Jump first, leap first. There's a Jew in need. Somebody needs either physical, monetary support or spiritual support, whatever type of support it is. You start there. That's real giving charity. Let me show you a little video over here. You ready?
Rabbi Moshe Tzur is the founder and administrator of a number of educational and charitable institutions in Jerusalem. In 1969, he was serving in the Israeli Air Force.
We was in Bir Gavgafa without any good conditions and good food. One day stopped trailers and gave to each one of us a package. It's a Chag Purim Sameach from the Rebbe Milubavitch. And we all was wonder who is the Rebbe. And it was like a Fata Morgana in the middle of the desert to receive a piece of candy and regarding from somebody that really care for you. And I was very impressed. On 1971, in the Milchemet HaAtasha, one day Chabad people asked us to put a tefillin. At that time, you don't know if it's Monday or Tuesday or Shabbat, and all of a sudden somebody asks you to put a tefillin. So when I started to say Kriyat Shema, I tried to say it, Shema, Israel, and I knew it, so I said it like fluently, and then I got crying because it was very emotional for me. And since that days, I got back to my religions. When I come to Chicago, I got to know Rabbi Daniel Moskovich, he should rest in peace. I become very close to Lubavitch community and to Chabad. And he used to come to my warehouse every Friday in the morning. And one time they honored me in some dinners that the Chabad house did. And I was twice in Yachdut with the Rebbe. And one time he asked me what I'm doing, and I had an idea to be helping some more Jewish community. And he was telling us how is important the mitzvah of ve'afta le'racha kamocha, to love the others just like you love yourself. And the Rebbe was like asking a question, why is the heart of the person, of the human being, is in the left side? Because in Judaism, the right is the chesed. If it's so important, why Hashem didn't make the human being create that the heart will be on the right side and not in the left side? So the Rebbe, he should rest in peace. He say that when a Jew look at the other, he have to know that the heart is for the others. Because when I look at you, your heart is in my right hand, and my heart is in your right side. So when the heart is for the other, then you really make the mitzvah of ve'afta le'racha kamocha. Because the heart is not for you. The heart is always for the others. Since then, thank God, I came back to Israel and I established 2 important yeshivot and 4 kollelim. And I think that the Rebbe definitely did a very important message in me and in my mission as a Jew. It changed all my perspective about life.
Okay, just that message. Why did God make the heart on the left side, not on the right side? In Judaism, the right side is the side that represents kindness. And the Rebbe said it is on the right side, not your right side, but on the person you're facing. What's the heart for? It's for the other person. Not inside out, outside in. So we have 2 ideas so far. We have the idea of the unqualified influencer. The Rebbe says, help others. And that will actually aid you, will help you in your own self-improvement. And with charity also. Outside in. Focus on the other one. Then it becomes limitless. Charity, giving shouldn't start from yourself. And the last third example in this sequence, which is maybe my most favorite one, is this letter. The Rebbe's organizational secret. You know, there's no secret about this, but already for like the past 20 years, in the Jewish corporate world, a very big topic is how do we model Chabad's success? There's some secret to Chabad. Everybody knows the growth, there's something happening over here. Other organizations, other synagogues, religious organizations, they're shrinking, slowing down. Chabad is only building more, growing. What's the secret? Well, I can't share everything. But I'll tell you a part of it. The Rebbe's spirit and the Rebbe's insight on this, which really leads the way Chabad runs, the Chabad activities. This is a letter written in 1951. This is the very, very beginning of the Rebbe's leadership to the directors of the Chabad schools in Montreal. And what does every single school struggle with? Money. Not just schools, every organization, right? Money. So what are they telling the Rebbe? Tell the Rebbe, I think this year we have to cut back on our admission because of money. Okay. Text 9. Page 155. Elkie, we'll get you the mic.
In regard to the discussion at your meeting concerning the deficit in the yeshiva's budget, I have already addressed this in my earlier conversation with you here in New York. Up until now, you tried to run things in a limited way, to direct your spending in accordance with your income. You should now try the opposite approach, that is to endeavor to increase your income in accordance with the needed expenses. This is in accordance with the saying by the Rebbe Maharash, which was given over by my father-in-law, the Rebbe, in the name of his father. The world advises that if you cannot go under an obstacle, you must leap over it. I maintain leap first, with the proper determination.
All right, thank you, Elkie. Let's unpack that over here. That's most organizations, what do? You have a quarterly meeting, you go through the budget, how are we doing? Are we doing well? We're up, we didn't raise as much money? Okay, we gotta cut down. What are we gonna cut down? What are we gonna cut down? We have to serve the community less? Okay, listen, we have less money. What do you want from us? We can only do as much as the budget. The Rebbe says you're thinking backwards. Stop starting with the organization's ability and then saying, now what could we do with that? Do it the other way. Say, what does the community need? What do the people need? And then you challenge the organization. How do we cover that budget? How do we cover that deficit? The Rebbe always encouraged organizations. Don't be too scared. Push a little bit into the deficit. Go a little bit into debt. It's good pressure. Hey, you can't be too crazy. I once saw a letter from the Rebbe once to an organizer, and he was going, the Rebbe said, no, you can't go into debt that much. You can't rely on miracles, but within a reason, you got to push it. Most organizations, most schools, okay, we have this amount of space in our building, we have this amount of money, this amount of staff we could hire, so this year we're going to have this X amount of students. And what happens if there's one student who wants to come and there's no space? Okay, listen, we're a successful organization. We made it. Too bad on you. You're thinking backwards. Think about what needs to happen over here. Let's put this up on the screen. There's income-centered or activity-centered, or organization-centered, or community-centered. If it's income-centered, okay, you look at the available funds and you work based on that. Or you say the opposite. What needs to happen? What does our community need? And then you make sure to do that. Again, this is the whole idea. Stop thinking inside out. First look inside and then you see what you can do beyond you. The other way around. Leap first. I once saw a letter from the Rebbe to a school who was struggling a lot with money. And the Rebbe said, money can always be found later, but the good work that you could do in the education of these children is an opportunity that will be lost forever. Stop thinking about the organization first, and then the people you serve second. It's the other way around. Serve the people don't serve you. Somebody have a question there? Matthew, you had a question?
Why don't they have sponsors?
That you can have sponsors, but it's one of the very big struggles of Jewish organizations. That no matter how many sponsors you have, there's still more to do. There's still more to do. And if only it was that simple. There we go. So look at this guy. I love this story over here. This is very profound over here.
I was a counselor and a handyman. Bunk Dalet was my bunk. Someone walked into Yechidus at the Rebbe and said, Rebbe, I got great news. The camp is completely full. There's even a waiting list of children to come. Rebbe said to him, what? There's a waiting list? How could we turn away kids from camp? How much time is left till the camp starts? He says, Rebbe, bloß a Woche. Only 1 week. Rebbe says, das ist genug Zeit zu bauen a building. This is enough time to build a building. We built a bunk for 21 children in 7 days. And we worked day and night, and we finished it. It was a beautiful building facing the lake. When Rebbe came to visit, that's a building that Rebbe gave very, very special attention to. And so when I graced nach Hasuruch dem Rebbe, it was an incredible, incredible pleasure to the Rebbe.
Und das darf man sagen, bet im ganzen Elam sagen L'chaim, für die Garne Yisrael, bechol mokim sheheim, als sie sollen matzliach sein, dort soll sein, Adira Leis Borich, und der Ingelach und der Mädelach von dorten sollen Arish kommen, Zera, Berech, Hawaii, und die Madrichim und die Madrichis und die Anhole und die Mishtadlim und die Misaskim sollen gehen Beresham, Leneged Mashiach Tzidkenu, Bikoriv Mamash, L'chaim.
Isn't that amazing? This is typical Rebbe. You got a week? Build a... You gotta tell kids no? I just want to tell you something. In the corporate or Jewish organization world, this is something that happens. There's a certain occupational hazard. And if you want to be a little bit honest, it's a certain inner rot that organizations develop. And organizations have to be very, very careful to stay away from this, which is what? Every organization starts off very idealistic. There's a need in the community. We got to serve the people. What happens eventually? The organization gets very, very successful. And you get to start choosing your people, choosing your crowd, choosing what you like doing, not doing what you don't like doing, being able to say, we're so successful, we sold out, too bad in everybody else. What happens is every organization starts saying, we're here to serve the people. You know what ends up starting to slowly happen? It becomes, the people actually serve us. How could you serve us? How can you make us look successful? Ooh, look at this, we have a sold out crowd. Thank you so much, Rebbe, for coming. You make us look so good. It's not about, what's that? I thought you're here for the people. The Rebbe fought this attitude so strong. Stop thinking inside, it's outside in. We're here for the people. So it's going to cost you extra money. You're going to go into deficit because you have to bring new kids and build a bunkhouse. So do it. How are you going to cover? Well, so we'll have to figure it out. So these are the three examples of how the Rebbe turned the whole conventional wisdom of inside out, totally outside in, upside down. The unqualified influencer, don't worry, do it. You'll actually help yourself in the process. By charity, it doesn't start with you, it starts with the person in need. That's the attitude. And reverse budget. Instead of thinking about what you're capable and interested in doing, first ask what needs to happen, and then you'll figure out how to cover that budget. This is the Rebbe's model. Jump first. Grab and eat, grab and drink. There's too much good work to do. Stop living in your own head. Stop getting yourself in the way. But dear friends, now let's talk a little bit about the other model, which this is a real beautiful ending for the course, and this is really a favorite idea of mine. Personal growth. Till now we're speaking about influencing others, giving to others, leading others, organizations, personally, charity. But let's talk about ourselves right now. The model we spoke about before is you start where you are. When you want to personally grow, take an honest look at yourself, assess who you are, and then just slowly start making your way up. Where am I? What problems do I need to fix? What's realistic? I can't jump too quick. I can't jump too high. I need to earn my way there. That is bottom up. Start from the bottom of the mountain, make your way up. Says the Rebbe the opposite. Top down. You don't begin the climb at the foot of the mountain, you begin the climb at the summit. Sounds a little crazy, no? Yeah? Jump first, leap first. Grab and eat. Stop taking your time on stuff. Go all the way in. What needs to happen? And do that right away. You've got problems, you think you're not ready yet. It doesn't matter. Let's develop this. It's a very deep idea, so let's develop it slowly. One of the times I spoke about this model, that we should start at the top of the mountain. Right? The starting point, if God gives you a goal, God gave you the power to achieve it, go straight for the top. Stop taking your time on it. Stop strategizing. Too much strategizing is no good. The Rebbe spoke about a whole idea. It was around the time of Passover. And the story of Passover, we commemorate leaving Exodus, leaving Egypt, 10 plagues. And the Rebbe taught a very interesting idea. The 10 plagues weren't just 10 ways how to harass the Egyptian population, but it was actually a 10-step program of rehabilitation. How do you get the depravity, the unholiness, the unhealth of Egypt and slowly rehabilitate it to spiritual holy health? The 10 plagues are not just 10 phenomena that God did to make the Egyptians suffer. It was actually 10 steps that rehabilitated. It's the journey of spiritual growth. How do you grow? Look at the 10 plagues. So let's take a look at it. Okay, let's look at this. Right? This is the Rebbe's approach about self-improvement. First, do good. Don't worry about your problems. Think only of the goal. Instead of climbing, leap, jump. Okay, so the plagues. Plague number 1 is turning water into blood. Plague number 2, okay, we'll get to that. Plague number 2 is frogs invading Egypt. What's the meaning of these? It's very deep. Water is cold. Blood is hot, is warm. The coldness, the apathy of Egypt against spirituality, against holiness, against God, the first step is we got to warm up all that coolness. Get rid of that coldness, of that apathy, of that disinterest for anything holy. So the first step is bring in the warmth. The warmth has to replace apathy. Change cold water into warm blood. What's step number 2? Step number 2 is frogs. Frogs they're not hot-blooded, they're not warm-blooded, they are cold-blooded. What is the idea? Egypt didn't have any warmth and passion for spirituality. What was their passions about? About materialism. They had a lot of unholy passions, a lot of warmth for unholy things. Frogs are cold-blooded, invaded Egypt. Cool off the passions for all the unhealthy things. This is the symbolism of the first 2 of the 10 plagues. And the sages even make sure to tell us that the frogs even went into the ovens of the Egyptians, even the hottest places in the Egyptian homes. This plague number 2 was to cool that off. The Rebbe says, look at the order. It wasn't frogs first and then blood. It wasn't let's first get rid of the negativity, of the passion for negativity, and then we'll work on building up a passion for goodness. It was the opposite. First good, then we'll take care of the bad. But first do good. Jump right away to the goals. Stop strategizing and cleaning up house and trying to slowly get yourself ready for it. Right away do good. That's the first step. Let's read text 10 on page 156. And David, got a long walk over here. Like a whole intermission. Okay.
Light expels darkness. All of the narratives included in the Torah serve as directives and guidance for all generations to come. Similarly, the Torah's account, with the plague of blood, representing warmth and passion for doing good, preceding the plague of frogs, representing dispassion for negative matters, directs us to follow suit. We must focus on doing good right from the start. As the Rebbe Maharash said, the world advises that when facing an obstacle, if you cannot go under it, you must leap over it. I maintain, leap first. Consequently, we also need this approach of leaping over in a sense of immediately working to reveal an abundance of light that will consequently, on its own, dispel the darkness.
All right, thank you. What was that? Oh, no. Darkness was number 9. We don't have time now to go through all 10 plagues. But just looking at these 2, there it says, look at the order. You would think, let's first clean out the problems and then we can start bringing in health. No! Bring in light first. Do good right away. Don't worry. Don't be held back by your problems. Stop allowing your darkness in your life, your problems in life, to dictate what you do. Jump to goodness right away. Stop going bottom up, it's top bottom. But start the journey at the top. Jump straight to the top, and we got to discuss this a little bit more. Yes?
Keep hearing the constant thing, have faith, don't let your fear hold you back.
Oh, have faith, don't let the fear hold you back. Yeah, I like that. That is very, very good. Nothing should stop in your way of leaping forward. And here I want to give you another secret of Chabad. You ready for secret number 2? One of the great revolutions of the Rebbe was really inventing the idea of Jewish outreach. That there should be this idea of creating an environment, creating centers to bring Jews in, help them learn more, help them do more, help them connect more with Judaism. The Rebbe had a certain secret to this. And it's very interesting because there's been a lot of other movements which have come since Chabad has started, and they've also created outreach movements. But they get this detail wrong. This idea, this little secret from the Rebbe, they do it the wrong way. Which is what? The Rebbe had a top-up approach, not a bottom-up approach. Let's read what the Rebbe says. The Rebbe says, how does a Jew grow? How does it happen? It's counterintuitive. And this is really the secret of Chabad over here. Text 11, page 158. Marla, you're up.
We could argue that in order for a Jew to begin performing mitzvot and drawing closer to God, they need to first learn about Judaism and about the laws and the mitzvot of the Torah. They especially need to learn about God, his relationship with the world in general, and his special relationship with the Jewish people. They also need to understand the significance of the mitzvot in general and of each specific mitzvah. In other words, we could argue that in order to do mitzvot, a person requires a proper introduction and training, comprehensive knowledge, etc. Only once that has been achieved, it is possible to proceed with observing the mitzvot in the proper way as befits the commandments of God. To counter this argument, the Torah shares the story of Abraham. God told Abraham, "Go from your land." At that point in the narrative, the Torah had not informed us at all about Abraham's virtues and achievements. And that is precisely the lesson for us. The very foundation and starting point of Abraham's coming close to God is when God told Abraham, "Go." It began with an action. He had to do something to carry out a divine command in actuality.
Thank you so much, Marla. So let's think about that. What does the world say? What does conventional wisdom say? A Jew is not ready to jump in. What do you got to do? Does a Jew believe? You first got to convince them that they believe. If they believe, build up faith. And then, if they're ready to start right away doing a mitzvah, educate them, warm them up. You got to prime them. And then he could say, would you like to maybe start lighting Shabbos candles? The Rebbe said, what? You got it all backwards. Start right away with the mitzvah. You know where a connection is made between a Jew and God? By doing a mitzvah. Abraham only began his relationship with God not by philosophizing, not by theologizing? That's not a word. Okay, what was that? Theologizing. It is a word, okay. Some form of that word. What's Rebbe saying? A Jew is already connected to God. A Jew is already there. You don't have to take a Jew and say, okay, listen, you're very far down the mountain. I'll help you make the trek up. You're there already. Start from the top. You leap right away to the mitzvah. You'll see it's right there. And once you're there at the peak, all of the steps necessary to get to the peak will already happen on its own. The understanding, the appreciation, the faith, the belief. But start right away. And this was when the Rebbe started the whole mitzvah campaigns, people laughed at Chabad. You're going on a Manhattan City street corner, stopping every single person. Are you Jewish? You're Jewish? You're Jewish? Oh, you're Jewish? You want to put on tefillin? No? Let's go. Let's just do it anyways. Does the guy know what he's doing? Say after me, Shema Yisrael. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. Talk to him, educate him, sign him up for something, get a donation, get an address, get a commitment. And maybe after half a year of learning, he starts appreciating something. Maybe then he can start doing something with them. The Rebbe says, you're thinking backwards. You're going bottom up. But it's leap first. Because a Jew is already there at the top. A Jew is already there at the top of the mountain. There's a story. It's not a true story. It's a metaphor. It's a Hasidic metaphor. And there was once a mountain. A very, very daring mountain. And everybody knew it was a dream of all climbers to somehow get to the top, reach it to the summit of this mountain, get to the peak. But it was such a dangerous mountain with such cliffs that it was almost impossible. And the greatest climbers would try and would fail, and many have fallen to their death trying to make it up the mountain. Everybody knew this is the greatest challenge. Comes one mountain climber. He spent a lot of time studying the terrain. He came up with a strategy, how to climb it. He practiced. And after months and months, he led his team, and they make it to the top of the mountain, and they meet a little child at the top of the mountain. And he says, little boy, what are you doing here? How did you get here? Do you know how hard I had to work to climb and strategize? How many people failed before me? And you're here? How did you get here? So the boy said, I don't know what you want from me. I was born here. Is a Jew somebody who needs to develop and climb in order to make a relationship with God and make a relationship with Judaism? Or is a Jew there already? The Rebbe said the Jew is there already. A Jew doesn't need any explaining. A Jew, you don't have to sit a Jew down in a seminar and force that Jew to come to the conclusion that, yeah, I guess I have to believe in God. It's not necessary. The Jew believes. The Jew's already connected to God. Every single Jew has a neshama, has a soul. All you need to do is the mitzvah. Connect, make that connection. And once you make the connection, you'll see it was already there, it was always there. They say a story. That when let's get your question, yes. Yeah, I'll tell the story first. There was, when trains first started becoming popular, so there was a simple man. And it was so exciting to go travel on the locomotive. So he saves up a lot of money. And after saving up for many, many months, he travels to the main city, to Warsaw. And he goes to the train station. And he says, I want to buy a ticket. He goes to the ticket counter. They say, what type of ticket? He says, wait a minute, what type of ticket? A ticket on the train. They say, yeah, there's a lot of different types of tickets. So the ticket agent saw that this person doesn't know what he's doing. So he's like, all right, we'll sell him a first-class ticket. Good business. So he's like, all right, you want a first-class ticket? So he says, will it get me on the train? And he said, yeah, first-class ticket's wonderful on the train. He says, sure, how much is it? He said, gave the amount. The man pays for it. But he says, you have to remember, the ticket is very, very precious. Take very good care of it. If you lose it, you can't get on the train. So he says, no problem. It was a very, very cold Russian, Polish, whatever it is, winter. He opens up all of his layers, puts his first-class ticket in the inside pocket, closes everything back up, and then he's waiting. He's like, I don't even know what a train looks like, what a train does, how to get on, how to get off. He says, I'll just look around, I'll follow whatever everybody else is doing. As soon as the train comes through, right away, he sees a whole group of young men springing into action. So he says, I'll follow them. I see they're getting ready to board. They're a bunch of hooligans, these boys. They're looking to just get a ride. As soon as the train pulls up, didn't even come to full stop. They jump in the back cart. And they go to the very back of the last train, the Spirit Airline train.
Baggage compartment.
And they go, and they all hide under the seats. Say, he's not young, he's not as fit as them, but he goes, he dives down under a seat. Anyways, a few minutes later, the train goes, and he's living the life. He's riding the train. The conductor comes. All the other kids were small. They were able to hide. This guy has like a whole foot popping out. So the conductor gives a good zets and says, sir, get out right now. What do you think you're doing? She says, no, don't worry. I have a ticket. He says, you got a ticket? Yeah, sure. Show me your ticket. She says, I'll show you. I paid a lot of money for my ticket. He opens up all of his layers and pulls out a first-class ticket. And the conductor can't believe his eyes. Starts laughing. He says, you fool. You have a first-class ticket and you're busy trying to hide yourself under a dusty seat on third class. What's the message? Every single Jew is born with a first-class ticket. Nobody should treat a Jew as if they're a third-class Jew, and a Jew should never consider themselves as a third-class Jew. You belong in first class. Go there proudly. You don't need any processing. You don't need to be primed. You don't need to be ready. I don't know. You're ready to make the leap, the Rebbe says. Top down. You're there. You're there at the top of the summit. Eric, you got to watch this video. Watch this video. All right? Here we go. Just do it. Do the mitzvah. And all the understanding and the feelings will flow from that action. Look at this. Two videos for you.
In 1969, Mr. Gordon Zacks was chairman of the UJA's Young Leadership Cabinet. Shortly after delivering a keynote address to 3,000 communal leaders from across the U.S. and Canada, he was informed that the Rebbe wished to meet with him.
I'm escorted into the Rebbe's study. And I'll never forget it if I live to be 100. This man, there are books piled all the way to the ceiling, all around the office. He stands up. He has these penetrating blue eyes, crystal clear eyes. His skin is almost translucent. I mean, not a wrinkle. Just an incredible, peaceful, penetrating look in his eye. He said, Mr. Zacks, I have read your speech. It is clear to me that you have taken good care of your mind. I can look at you, and it's clear to me that you've taken good care of your body. What are you doing for your soul, Mr. Zacks? That was the opening to the conversation, which lasted an hour and a half. So he says, do you believe in revelation? I said, I believe in God, but I'm not sure I believe in revelation. I believe that the Bible was inspired by God, but I haven't yet accepted the fact that it's word for word written by God. Now listen to this. I mean, this is when it really gets amazing. He says, Mr. Zaks, your problem is you're trying to think yourself to God. You can't think yourself to God. You have to experience the why, the how of being Jewish. And in the living of a Jewish lifestyle, you will discover God. He's within you. But you're trying to connect to him through your head. You have to connect to him through your heart. And you can't get there through your head. You got to get there through experience. He says, let me send a member of my community to live with you for a year and teach you how to be Jewish. If at the end of the year you find God in your soul, in your heart, you have achieved the greatest gift that you will ever have in life. You've got to release yourself from this mental approach to life and God and come with me in this journey of the heart.
All right, one more short thing. This is 30 seconds conversation with the Rebbe, and it's just amazing how in a few short seconds, you got to watch this carefully. Can't miss a beat over here. You see that? Straight to the point. I came here to learn more, and the Rebbe says you're in the wrong place. You'll find it within you. You're born there. So dear friends, it's not bottom up, it's top bottom. We're already there. It's not inside out, it's outside in. Be there for others. Stop thinking about ourselves. And dear friends, the Rebbe believed in us, that we're successful. We're already there. And I want to close this course with two short points. I think if you look back at this whole course, there's two themes. There's a lot of themes, but two of the central themes are, number one, the Rebbe's optimism, the Rebbe's positivity and trust in God that totally pervaded the Rebbe's way of looking at life and guiding people. And number two, the Rebbe always encouraging people, step out of yourself, stop being so self-obsessed with yourself, and live a life of mission. It's all around you. There's always opportunities. So dear friends, what the Rebbe would tell us is live life with a sense of purpose. Live life with a true sense of optimism and joy and trust that God is involved in our lives. And let's activate that first class ticket. And dear friends, before you go, I want you to look at page 161. In your books, the Rebbe made over the years his mitzvah campaigns, the 10 mitzvah campaigns. And these were the 10 mitzvahs the Rebbe pushed for a Jew to take upon themselves. And I hope I could inspire you and challenge you, in honor of this course, to take upon yourself a little resolution, a little commitment. It could either be for a lifetime, but maybe do it for a little bit, a month. If even a month is too much, try a week or two. Take one mitzvah from this list and say, I am going to start top bottom. I am going to start doing something. I'm going to go to the first class cabin. I'm a Jew, even if I have doubts, even if I have questions. Let's jump straight up at it. Let's leap. Take one of these areas, a mitzvah either you don't do yet, or a mitzvah that you could do better at, and make a concrete commitment in honor of this course, in honor of learning the Rebbe as a device for life. And of course, if there's anything I can help you out with, it will be my greatest honor and pleasure to help you with doing one of these mitzvahs, to help you get it, to put up a mezuzah, tefillin, whatever it is. Every single one of these mitzvahs are beautiful, are meaningful, and will impact your lives. And dear friends, with all that, I want to thank you for joining. What a wonderful, wonderful journey this has been. I want to thank you all for joining. I want to thank everybody who helped set up and prepare for today. Lisa, who just left, David Goldis, Louis Sugarman. Where's Louis? He was here. He had to leave, right? And who else? Who else? Claire and a few others. So I want to thank you all so much. Thank you for joining this special journey. And I can't wait to see you again for more wonderful opportunities, wonderful times, joyous times, and more wonderful Jewish learning together. May God bless you all, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Take care. All right, thank you. Give yourselves all a round of applause.